Welcome back, friends, to APAC North. Game number 2, FAV Gaming versus Dam1 Kia. Can FAV Gaming take a first win here in the stage? Or actually in way more than that. And I believe, how long has it been, Hap? 180 some days?
Almost 85. Almost half a year.
Almost half a year. Almost 185 days. There you go. So can they take the win?
Stacks that.
Yeah, well, let's go to sleep after a win. You always want to get that, and they've been awake ever since then. Dam1 Kia also, their eyes have been popped open because they're in the danger zone. They're slipping away from the top 2, and they want to be there because otherwise you don't qualify to a major. So let's have a chat about FAV Gaming. First, Mr. Fresh, Mr. Jack, let's see. Can they do it?
Well, FAV Gaming, I'm running out of ways to talk positively about this team. And that round performance graph just there on the right will show you that they've lost every game of Stage 2 and Stage 3 so far. And I think there's a few fundamental flaws with how they play. I've touched on it time and time again. Seems to be communication, seems to be adaptivity, seems to even be just simple things like getting on cams when dead for some of these players that have had really rough time of things. You know, there's no other way to say it. I think they've got one shining star, that is Light. He's been doing, you know, okay during the stage, dropped off a little bit last week. But after that, none of it really reads very well at all for this team.
As you say, it's difficult to find positives when they're going out week in, week out and losing fixtures, losing games. The closest they've come inside of this stage to any sort of success was, of course, against Fnatic. They did manage to take Fnatic to an overtime. So we know that they've got a little bit of potential there. They can put up a game of Siege and they can play a game that's in front of them. I'm not saying that Fnatic were playing fantastically that day. They obviously were on a bit of a slow burn. But realistically, FAV, they can't be given any sort of favoritism going into this one.
I mean, you're saying you're finding it hard to really put things into words for the team. I'm wondering if they're using their words in the game, because there's some moments where you really have to wonder. But on the other side are Dam1 Kia, and things aren't looking too bright over there because, yeah, they beat Talon a couple of Playdays ago, but losing to Reject, that is an upset. Reject are very happy, you know, because of that win, and they have to be very proud of the win. They really pulled it out, but you always expect Dam1 Kia to try to make it through.
You certainly would. In terms of recent history over the past kind of year, is Dam1 Kia became this team that became feared, not just domestically, but internationally as well. And they were just a staple. We would expect them to be in the top 2 alongside one of CAG or Sandbox. And it's really not looking that way this stage. A loss to CAG, a loss to Rejects. These are teams that Dam1 Kia was pretty much beating for fun last stage. That downward curve that Dam1 Kia have been on has been to do with, you know, passiveness on attack, passiveness on defense. It looks like they're trying to figure it out, but they're clearly being very inconsistent at the moment.
And consistency is always going to be the key. You look at Dam1 Kia's next couple of fixtures. They've got this game against FAV. They've got next game next week against Spear. This should be 6 points. This is 2 weeks to pick up 6 points and to get themselves back into some sort of contention for those top 2 spots. It really is all about today. If we see Dam1 Kia turn up and we can just write off a little bit of a slower start to the stage, everyone can relax and, you know, normal service is almost resumed.
It's still a very uphill task for them, even in the context of getting in the top 2, right? Because Sandbox took a win today, looking good. They're currently 3 points clear, even if Dam1 Kia win. And then Reject as well have got a very favourable fixture run. So it's going to have to be almost a miracle run at this point for Dam1 Kia to even make the major.
It's going to come down to Sandbox playing against CAG in the next Playday. So that's why you're talking about Spear Dam1, that Dam1 has to get 6 points out of all of this because others have tougher games. And then that final Playday, if CAG beat Fnatic and the difference between Sandbox and Dam1 is 1 game, then the final match of the entire stage, Dam1 versus Sandbox, could tell everything about who qualifies in second place, because Cyclops, I mean, yeah, they're the final game of today, but they should be able to beat Spear. You kind of take it as an assumption. That, again, who knows? But let's talk about our map for this series. I'd like to bring it up, and we'll see if it aligns with what Jack had in mind, because did a pretty good job in the last one. And actually,
too bad.
You hit more often than not, Jack, on it.
Thank
so
you
there
very
it
much,
is. Dam1, no, that's what Derry says. Chalet banned out by Dam1 will take us to Bank. They start on defense. FAV opting for an attack start on Bank, which fits the meta, but is there more to it?
I wasn't actually expecting Bank from these two teams. It's kind of it's a very low preference map for FAV. And then Dam1, it used to be one of their staple maps. They used to absolutely love this map. But if you remember back to when they played it in Berlin, They played it in Berlin. Obviously, they went up against Rogue on it, and who wins Bank against Rogue? But they went up against Rogue and Exet, and they got absolutely handed to in Berlin on this map, and they haven't been there since. So for Damwon, they've looked in a bit of a confidence crisis on this map as well. So I didn't necessarily have it pinned.
It's probably a good time to get a confidence boost on it, though.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because you think about Bank as a map and you think about some of the fundamentals that we see FAV struggling with, whether it's communication. It seems crazy to be stood here and say hopping on a camera as being a problem, but it is. But that's something that plays into Bank. Bank is so information-based. You really need to have a good handle on those information ops. You need to be able to exchange that efficiently. It's one of the bigger maps in the pool. All of these things really play into a team that has strong communication and strong teamwork. FAV don't really have those two things. So from that point of view, you look at it and you go, it's a no-brainer.
FAV's attack is going to really suffer in this one. Maybe they're trying to get it out of the way.
Maybe. I mean, FAV, there's been a few contenders for possibly the worst match in Siege history.
Sandbox FAV.
And Sandbox FAV on Bank is right up there, where FAV got 0 attacks out the 4 times they tried.
What was the NAL game?
It was the Beast Coast against SSG, I want to say.
No.
No,
that was like
different
a
one.
year or so ago.
Oh, well, in recent history. That game this stage was awful as well.
All right.
I'm just going to
Well.
call out. Sorry.
It's all right. I mean, for all the Damwon Kia fans out there, I hope you have your copium right by your side as you're watching this on your couch. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Not ready yet. No, okay, we're going to take our time. Just got the call. We're taking their time. Sorry. We almost got our casters excited.
I saw Hopper shoot
Hap nearly pressed the
as well.
button there.
He went,
Yeah, it's... There you go. Thank you very much, Milos. I'm just going to say it to myself. But if we're looking at the weak points that have been going on with Damwon Kia, because we're saying, okay, everything's happening for FAV, let's look at the macro for Damwon. Because they're a team that needs to make it to the major, needs to make it to SI, and it's got to go through FAV here, but also improvements that have to happen in 2 weeks.
I think it was Damwon Kia. I don't know what's necessarily happened with them, whether they had a switch, a change in strategy. But ever since about the start of Berlin, back into stage 2, up until about now, they've gone super passive. They've allowed teams to take all the space they want when Damwon Kia have been on the defense. They've allowed teams to do that. When they're attacking, they're very slow, they're very passive, they're looking for these late executes, and that's not Damwon Kia of old. Damwon Kia of old is kind of like you expect them to, they've got these big star players, they go in, they make these big bold plays, massive, multi-kills, Rain, Yas, etc. So I wonder if they're in a bit of an identity crisis themselves, whether the shift in the meta and the operators has maybe just affected them a little bit and they've needed to refine that. Hopefully they have, but like I say, those inconsistent performances, those ups and downs, it doesn't fill me with confidence when you're thinking about, we need to make a sustained run for top 2.
And that's the strange thing. You look at the meta and you think, this really suits Damwon. This meta should really suit Damwon Kia. But they are just struggling to make that transition into it. And no one's really stepping head and shoulders above the rest. We're used to big standout performances or someone absolutely dominating a stat line. Just looking across the numbers, there's no one that's standing head and shoulders above everyone else.
It's
They're all
Coated,
very middle. But even Coated, you look at it and you think, Coated,
Ain't goated no more.
He's rated 106.
Yeah, that's
Next
what I mean.
player below, Yas, rated 105. There's not a great deal of difference.
If Coated's your top-rated player, when you've got a team of superstars, when you've got Yas, when you've got Rin, when you've got Kat Sang, Woogerman, like these that have had massive international moments, and Coated's your top-rated player, that's no disrespect to Coated, but there is a problem.
Some issues to look at here, but operator-wise now on Bank, sorry, we have a slight delay just to keep you all updated. It's in no relations to somebody pressing the S button. Don't worry about it. But any operators that we see banned out here, because there's been a lot of Nook and then a lot of Nook banned specifically for Bank.
FAV didn't ban Nook when they went up against Sandbox, and not just them being not on cams, but also Nook was a massive. I remember Good Boy just dropping down a hatch and just walking into site in lockers. With nobody knowing on Nook. So I think Nook would actually be a really good ban. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of Nook ban generally anyway.
Nook's always been a great operator for Bank anyway, so the fact that Nook's one of the few with nades now, bit of a no-brainer that you throw that one in there. You could maybe look at chucking a Hibana into the mix as well, just to make some of that hatch play a little bit more difficult. Certainly in EUL, we saw some strange bans this week. We saw a lot of Cade ban with Thatcher still open and obviously the secondary EMPs. But defenders, you're always going to be looking at your sort of staples, your Echo, maybe something like a Valkyrie. Get rid of some of that information. But I mean, it's not like FAV are necessarily going to use it too well, so you could also leave it open.
It's true. Maybe a zero could be found in this.
I
NA
lo-
has been rocking the
honestly,
zero more often.
I love a zero ban on bank, and I don't know why teams don't do it more. I think it's because if you ban zero, Habana's just going to be available, right?
Fair.
But zero's so good. Like, and obviously we're talking, we're waiting for the game to start. But zero on bank, particularly, because you've got the 2 hard breach charges, you've got the 4 SAM cams. I don't know the actual name of them. Argus cams. There you go. Look at that knowledge. Because you've got the 4 of them, you can play them in very high places in like lobby. You can actually, one trick that zero players often do is they go up to the roof and they shoot a SAM cam in all 3 of the skylights, because you can hold all of the flanks from a SAM cam in the skylight, and then you can use the last one for burn or just an aggressive cam, whatever you want. And then you've got the 2 hard breach charges as well. Such a good operator for bank specifically.
There you go. I mean, Maverick has been seeing a bit of a lowering in pick and ban rate also in general.
Yeah, I mean, no nades,
Nice, gotta
EMP
hurt.
grenades coming in.
To be honest,
Rough.
after the Buck nerf, at least when removing his nades, I fell in love with Maverick. I have to just state it here. Maybe TMI for some people, but like there was a
beard,
time.
or was it like the scruffy beard and like the nice scarf he's got?
Yeah, I mean, I have a thing for scarves. That's how it
That's
is.
what I did think so. Yeah.
Fair. It's honestly, I guess the half Afghan, not roots, but he's created some of his own in the lore itself. But there was a time where I believed Maverick was incredibly underused, and that between his M4 and the grenades and the ease of use of his utility, that's even before the actual like the actual Suri Lance was increased. Like they doubled the actual gas capacity.
Yeah.
And back then, you had to be very precise about how you use them. Still to this day, there's a lot of players that still mess it up. But
He took a side swipe.
I mean, you gotta do it. You gotta highlight it, right? But that's all of these things made him such a great operator. But now the nades are gone, and you're gonna have to, suffer through it, I guess.
Yeah, I think, they'll come in and out of popularity.
Yeah, it's normal also that you have balancing over the course of the history of the game. We're going into the 8th year soon, so there's just so many things that have to keep swapping out. Thermite doesn't have grenades like it used to. Smoke doesn't have a nitro for those that still remember that was a thing at one point. And Frost can't snipe people across the map, so you take what you get.
I think it's weird to see that one change to an operator's kit, and it's secondary kit as well. We're not talking about primary gadget, we're talking about secondary utility. The nades going, it is enough to just drop anyone off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And, you look at what's happened with Finka recently. Obviously, Finka suffered a bit of an LMG nerf as well, so there are other things going on there.
True.
But that was, the nades in itself is almost enough, because it's been proven there with Maverick that, yeah, he's a slow breacher, and he's no longer got nades. Let's bring something else on a Hibana.
Isn't it crazy that I guess APAC pioneered Finka, and now nobody touches Finka in the region?
Yeah. It's one of them is, whatever APAC's playing now will be good in about 6 months' time.
Yeah.
They love it.
That's pretty much it.
I just want to see loads of capital from them.
At the time, it was only Wilkie from ENCE that played
That's a
Finka
throwback
in
name.
Europe. Yeah, now look at him, general manager of ENCE. Insane.
Speaking of throwbacks, do you know where I was watching a stream yesterday? Rainbow Six Siege?
Keito Mestari.
Panari.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. He's been
Throwback.
playing more like Resident Evil or whatever
Yeah.
the past few weeks. Like really old games.
Yeah. He's back.
How's he feeling?
Don't know.
Is he making up any music?
Oh, I don't know. I had him on the second monitor muted whilst I was playing Siege myself.
Okay, you're double dipping.
Yeah.
In that way.
Always.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But, moving on. Sorry for the tangent, but we kind of have to burn some time in a way. Better than going to a break or anything. You just have to welcome to the APAC North podcast, where we talk about random stuff awaiting a game. Our lobby is not set yet. There's some issues with the players, so don't you worry about it. But why did it go to camera 1? But if we were to move on and talk about operators that would really, I guess, impact FAV in this case, things that they could use to their advantage, because there must be something that FAV is doing in those rounds that they're winning that could work. That you look at and like, yeah, this is the spark. This is the spark.
No,
Dig.
I can't, because I literally jumped to maybe they should play Legion. That's where I got to.
Oh, it's never good if you
it
say
might
bring
give
a
them a
leash
bit
in.
of information for free. What
I'm sorry, what's wrong with Legion?
what seems to be happening in rounds where FAV win is that the other team play it badly. It's very hard to watch FAV at the minute, and it really is. Like I say, we see the symptoms, but when you're seeing literally people dead, not on cams, and the enemy just walking into sight, it's very hard to make up not even make up, but think of something that they're doing well. I think there's some really fundamental problems there, and I think it stems from the fact that they do a setup, and every person on that team has their job, and they stick to that job and they do that job, and there's not any flexibility to shift to what the opponent's doing. And I think that's a big problem for them.
You bring up the flexibility there, and it's kind of interesting that you start this topic about talking about operators and what could they bring to give them a little bit of something extra. If you look at the most played defenders, 3 of them have got Mute as the most played defender.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a problem. Mute's great. I love a bit of Mute. I think Mute is a staple in most compositions. But throw something else in there. You know, that means that people aren't playing one other thing consistently enough for that to be their most favoured defender. So it means that their default is Mute, and then they'll just occasionally pick onto other things. It seems like there's almost a bit of a role crisis, a bit of an identity crisis, similar in a way of what's happening with Damwon Kia. But the fact that you've got so much reliance on, you know, just sticking to a very simple, straightforward lineup, and you haven't got that ability to flex off. Some of the best teams in the world, we see what they're capable of, and they're capable of anyone can play anything. You typically, you know, we're out of the support entry meta where that's a very clear, defined line, and people can play things as different options. So a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more variety for the side of FAV really wouldn't do them any harm.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. We're still on delay. We're awaiting our players to hop in. I'm saying it shouldn't take too long, but the macro for Damwon Kia now and for APAC is who can make it to Invitational. And I don't know if we have the graphic for who can make it. It probably has not been updated with the results of the first game, but I'll just ask production if very nicely they would have that Sprabuni and Wrath graphic up to pull whenever they feel like it. But it seems like, let me just confirm. Can you talk about it for just a moment?
Oh, I'm talking about the graphic? Yep.
Yeah, we'll bring it out in a second.
So, is this the SI graphic or is it the Berlin graphic? Oh, who knows? It's
Berlin.
the SI graphic. This is, well,
This
both.
is the both.
This is both. So, as at the start of the Playday, we've got the percentage chances of teams making the Berlin
There are people
major.
that make up teams.
So, Damwon Kia, currently 13%. Now, that very likely has twinged down very slightly due to Sandbox winning in the full 3 points. Sandbox themselves will have gone up to 76% chance. So that will naturally have moved Damwon Kia's down just a little bit. And obviously for Damwon Kia, because they didn't do well in Berlin, because they didn't go to Charlotte, they don't make the major. They also don't make SI based on points alone.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go through APAC quals, which is, as we've seen, very competitive.
It's volatile.
Certainly is. And you never want to be relying on a last chance qualifier to
Yeah.
get to a big international event, especially when a team like Damwon Kia has attended so many invitationals in a row. It'd be a big shame to see them miss out on it. One thing that graphic doesn't take into account, which is certainly worth mentioning, is the run of games that are coming up
And the
now.
strength of the opposition.
And the strength of the opposition. So you look at who Damwon are playing. Damwon have got FAV this week. They've got Spear next week. You look at that and you think it should be 6 points for them. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. So that will, of course, impact the percentages, but only 2 teams go through, so it's still tight.
Yeah, I guess this was the gluten-free part of the show because we got to stretch it out, and that's what gluten's for. There you go, learn something new. Anyways, that's Damwon Kia versus FAV. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, casters will get you directly into game. See you in a few. Sorry for the delays.
Thank you very much, Vikas. Yeah, we're back. The
Production. We can
all
also give
production.
them a thank
We
you.
can thank them.
They
The
threw for
lobby's
us.
ready. We have all 10 players confirmed. Everything's up and running. Confirmed. We'll
Got
be in.
confused for a second as the player forgot to turn their AC on.
Yeah, they were like, the players got to turn their AC on. And we're like,
Why is this an emergency?
the AC in the cool world of production stands for anti-cheat.
Yeah, not for air conditioning.
So they're living in their own world. Hey, thank you for bearing with us during that period of time.
You know, I just wanted to start questioning the desk on their knowledge about gadget names
Okay.
when we came through. It was just, how many full names do they know? Because we always give them nicknames. So I just wondered, have been forgotten. But we didn't get to that part.
Well, Fresh is standing right over there. and
Yeah,
he's-
Fresh is standing right
Fresh
there.
just ate your burger.
That's fine. Which one am I going to be?
He's saying,
which one am I
he's
gonna
saying we
ask you?
should quiz him. All right, well,
I'm starting with a simple one. Amaru
really?
doesn't know. It's
Yeah.
the Garahu.
We don't-
Congratulations.
All right, Ying, the ban.
Yeah, Ying has been banned.
What's the Candela? Cool.
Nice.
We'll
Okay,
do
gets
the
that one.
next.
Yeah, we'll do.
I mean, it's going to be
four
Nook,
bans.
so prepare yourself. But
That one is quite a difficult one.
let's see. It might not be Nook. They're taking their time on this.
They are.
Habana.
Savannah, that should be easy.
That's easy.
No.
Ex
Yes,
Kairos,
you got it,
correct.
ex-Kairos.
You can't hit Fresh, so we're filling you in here, Twitch chat. You can play along at home.
You can.
Fav are taking their time on these bans. Is someone not ready?
They're all sitting. So I assume everybody is ready. Maybe they just want to have a really good discussion
I
about
just want to have it.
Stall this out. Cade. Yeah,
Yeah, that's quite easy.
that's quite easy.
Doesn't really have a fancy.
They haven't been really testing us here.
Damn, okay. Here. Oh, they're quick. I was about to not complain.
But just give him a little nudge. Valkyrie. No, that's also an easy one.
Ooh, stuff.
That should be an easy
He's
one.
pulling a face, Twitch chat. He's pulling a face.
You don't know?
You don't know.
We say this so often. It's not a Valcam.
It's a black eye.
A black eye.
A black eye.
There you go.
camera. You got all of them. Yeah.
That's Maestro. Yeah. All right. That aside, let's get into the game, as we've had that small delay. We had the quiz. Hope you all passed back at home.
Yeah. Congratulations if you did. If you didn't, I'm sorry. You have failed.
Final test is at the major.
The final test is at the major. Yonkoping.
Jönköping.
Jönköping.
I don't know if that's... I hear so
Jönköping.
many different pronunciations of Jönköping.
Fabian, however I pronounce it, Fabian's going to be mad at me.
He's always mad. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Matter what you
so...
say.
And who else am I going to irritate? Bikini Bozy? What's he gonna do? Do memes?
He's going to get a
Probably.
class shield out and start teabagging. That's what he's going to do.
Hey, we're in. Fav Gaming versus Damwon Kia. What's the story? Come on, Damwon, you gotta win this. Let's be honest here. Between these two and how they've gone, Fav find themselves still sitting at the bottom of the board with a single point. Damwon Kia, they find themselves middling with 6. It's not the biggest distance, especially now that Sandbox have sort of cemented it. Well, it means that they've got to win this. This, if it's anything other than a confident win, I would be astounded to see Damwon Kia at the major.
The thing is, Damwon Kia, all they have to do is get 9 points and hope that Reject loses 1 or 2. That's it. If they do that, they're going to the major. It's as simple as that. But that doesn't mean they need 9 points. That means they cannot go to overtime a single time if they want to keep it all on their own hands. As Rin starts it off, that's a good start. It's Euro removed. It's the Finka away. No more LMG or heals coming through. It's a good start for... I don't know what Shin is... He's
Trying to get the
on
angle
top,
down
but-
the stairs. So you can get an angle all the way down the stairs there.
And too far, but
Yeah, he's hoping he can get the hop up there and sort of...
wasting a lot of
seen
time doing this.
Sloth was holding that angle before. He's played that a couple of times. It's awkward, but it can give you a really good overwatch there. They've been quite quick getting control here over the top 2 floors. Obviously, they suffered down in the basement. I'm not sure if that was a swing down from the blue stairs itself or an attempt on that sort of aggression, but either way, it locks out the first fight, and you can see they're just getting some clarity over open, making sure that, well, they've forced the players down. These cap cans are taken care of, the attention paid to hatches that are partially opened and now opened. Means that the break will come through. No Kaid means there's nothing that's really going to slow this down, and they can start focusing towards the fight inside the site. Didn't get that cap can, though. Oh, look at this Aruna gate. It's going to pop off. Look, are they going to step off?
they might. Oh no, it's already been shot. So they sent a Gemini replicator through earlier that walked through and actually destroyed that. So they needed to get back in. Didn't know that, of course, so that's why they stepped off.
It wasn't sparking, so I thought... But that's because it could be reactivated.
It could be reactivated at that moment in time.
I saw them
They did
waiting
it very
underneath.
early on.
I was hoping it's going to be cool.
It would have been a cool trick, but
would have been.
FAV realized it quick enough as they do find Rin, and that is now an opening into the server room.
It's very open down here. They've got that single wall. We just hit a zero cam pop off on the back end. The pre-fire round towards the main connecting wall. The plant is still going to have to find its way through. The Arena Gate's been burnt for 40 seconds, and they're just trying to throw themselves through. Shin gets a hell of a take there across the head of Coat. It caught out. The smoke's gone. That's a massive blow as the canisters themselves start to cook into gear. A swing round and a spray. Shin's the man with the kid in the pocket, so he's trying to keep himself as alive as possible. Woogieman is doing the opposite. Takes care of Light inside the site. The drop on the hatch. The heavy hitting hammer of Yas round on the corner. He's swinging and trying to make a connection. Taipon's going to see if he can stick the plant, but he knows he's under too much damage and duress. He's lost loads of health, but Shin's doing his best. This C4 could define the whole game. If this does not get caught out, that is it caught out. Shot on the side. Woogieman gets one more, but the plant, it might just connect. There it is. Misses the tail end of the player. There's one close to his right-hand side. Woogieman and Katsang, the two apiece. You're sort of wondering where Katsang was in that engagement. He still has a C4 of his own. They're able to win out the fight. Now holding off with barely any health. The pings, the hot players, they've got themselves behind a shield. The pre-fire pops up, a quad kill for Shin. Taipon saves the ace. But FAV bite back for an opening round.
Instantly bite back and taking out the smoke, crucial there. You saw how much damage was done onto the Amaru. You saw how much the Yana took damage as they tried to go for the plant right there. An extra smoke canister down on the ground would have been the decision maker out there, would have made sure that that plant would not come to fruition. As we had a player of FAV going for a cheeky disconnect. Unfortunate. That means we were right back into the pauses.
I don't think they're going for a cheeky disconnect. A cheeky disconnect has occurred.
Purpose, but it has occurred. And that means we have a little bit of time to talk again.
If you haven't worked out who's disconnected, I know who it is. Can you work it out?
Oh, yes. I was like, how do you work it out? I think it's Yura.
It's Yura. Yura has...
or he's a very good at sitting still.
Yeah, like staring contest.
This feels like his entire PC has crashed, by the way.
Yeah, Yura...
It's not just the game.
That's an abrupt cut. So we'll have a tech pause. Teams are allowed one of these a piece. Obviously, there were some problems getting in. So you hope that it's not relevant to those things because FAV do not need to be played by it. They're the only team out of contention of the major, technically. I'm not sure if the previous result changes the result for Talon and Spear. I think it might do.
Wait, what? Sorry? I was just...
So at the start of the day, FAV were the only team that could not make the major.
Yes.
I don't know if
That
Sandbox's result has changed Talon and Spear and removed them from the running. So at this point, FAV are just playing the games ahead of them. And it's sometimes a bit of a relief for a team. Sometimes they'll play their best when the pressure's off in that regard. You've got the lead up onto, obviously, the next year, the next season. Damwon Kia have all the pressure in the world. Damwon Kia are on the back foot on a chase for a two-horse race.
Yeah, it's not just a major; it's also the Sixth Invitational that is on the line, of course. So you have to keep that in mind. No, for now, everybody's still in the race, considering 9 points still left to be grabbed for teams like Talent and Spear, who are currently behind.
The CAG result could change that, I guess.
The CAG result will change things. That is for sure. Because if I am checking, Cyclops plays up against Reject. No, Spear. And Talent plays Reject. So if Reject wins that, Cyclops win that, there's going to be two more teams locked out from making it to the major, potentially. But it's not the game at hand, because the game at hand is waiting to see if Yura can reconnect. Get that BC going again. It's not like they're in a team house like they are at Damwon Kia, where you can, you know, have a little bit of a quick check around the cameras and see if the other person is reconnecting. Not the case here. All we have is the camera of Yura that we hope comes back on at some point.
Katsang looks very relaxed.
Katsang, yeah, he's just chilling.
Just waiting.
Just lounging.
And he's got the fan as well. Like he's kitted. Woogie as well. They're chilling. They're waiting.
Just getting some
high spirits on the side of FAV. I think that's the thing. There's a lot more pressure on DK this game. There's a lot more pressure on DK for every single game. That's just the nature of the beast. If you're out the race, you're still playing and you're still throwing yourself in a game, but you'll be more willing to sort of push the boat out. You'll generally be in better spirits because at that point, you know, it's like, oh well, but well, now we can use this as time to try and drive some new ideas.
The thing is, FAV, you know, half a year without a win in APAC North, so I guess the pressure's kind of off at that point.
If
just trying to change
if their first win since the end of stage 1
is going to be Damwon Kia.
Is against Damwon Kia.
And they lock them out of the major race by that way. I mean, they won't be locked out, but it's going to be like a 2% chance.
It makes it very doubtful.
That'd be a win. That'd definitely be a good way to get back into the things. Of course, FAV, as you mentioned before, the only one that is currently not able to qualify anymore for the major. As Emmy is getting blamed for this.
No, I'm having fun with production.
I heard it bleed through, so I was like, wait, are you the one that is the reason for this rehab?
Yeah, I've disconnected. It's gonna...
You pulled the cable of Euro out? Is that
No, it's me.
Oh, okay. You, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We're back in.
Hey, we're back in.
Attackers need to
Sweet.
locate and defuse
Sick.
bomb.
Shin. Let in with 4K. Maybe could have got the ace. Probably not that envious about it. Off of the back of just a drive through onto the site. They sort of suffered early on, realized that there wasn't a huge amount of presence from Damwon Kia on the rest of the top of the map. So threw themselves down towards the side itself, got the hatches open that they needed to. They were taking quite aggressive hatch drops. And I think that's one of the things about this team is as the pressure was coming through on server, onto the side of the site and the plant itself, and they were like, well, we need to get past. We saw 2 different FAV players at 2 different times, about 20 seconds between them, just drop the site hatch and just try and swing into the engagements just to help the players behind lead in.
The thing is, if you make a decision in Siege, you need to stick through with it. And often
Yeah, you
these
gotta
hatch drops are like so hesitating. It's like we drop in, but we don't move. We just stay. That's how you die. If you drop in and you take that ground assertively, that's how you can find success. That's exactly what they did. They decided to go with it, and they just stuck it all through. They were not having any doubts about that hatch drop. And that is how you find success with those kind of plays.
All right. This isn't a site that we see very often. Generally, across the leagues, it's sort of balanced itself. It's not entirely uncommon, but in comparison to how often we used to see it, it sort of fell a bit out of favor. It's become sometimes a little bit awkward, a little bit uncomfortable to hold itself. You've always generally got the castle as the extension, give yourself a little bit more room. The Azami is just a constant, to be honest, wherever you are. But she does work very, very well on this site. And we've seen some fun holds that include sort of having a little bit of, you know, this direction open, as we can see here, towards a wall that used to be locked. Instead, you sort of play against it with the Azami of the backline inside janitors and the site itself and the castle, and you swing around. You make all a square uncomfortable to be in, and you don't let them set up just from having those long-range angles.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Just trying to figure out how exactly Damwon Kia is playing this, because there is quite a lot of reinforcements inside a janitor. Katsing is still out there. Last wall, I believe, has a rotation in it. Oh, he's playing that from the long desk, so not even directly in janitor.
Oh, yeah, this is what I mean. Like, you'll just play it all the way back.
Yeah, so that they don't want to take the risk of someone walking in from the top of square and just finding the kill. And this way they can still challenge on the rotation they have made on top square towards the side and the windows if a repelling occurs.
Light just suffered a fair bit.
Affected himself, I believe.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get rid of something. I don't know if he knocked a castle off of a different window, or there was just a missed moment and he pulled himself back to not suffer being shot, but it makes playing this a lot more dangerous. It just takes a little bit of a scratch to connect now to take care of your one player on those windows. It's a big rotate, and it means things are a bit risky. You can see they're sort of bouncing back and forth between the pair of windows on the little corridor and the ones on the site itself, but here is FAV kind of knocking on the door and a bit confused.
Yeah, they want to get the player near janitor. They know that is going to be the breaking point of their push. And as they go in for an execute, Shin will find Cats and Coded instantly responds. So that's diffuser drop with 35 seconds.
Taipon's able to find Rin on the back end as well. Coded still in a power position, and Woogieman has the long range all the way back. But Afro, he's going to see if he can stick the plant. In the meantime, it's sprayed over the top. Taipon gets the cover at least, but 20 seconds. Woogieman's going to see if he can have to step up here. Yas has now also moved his way closer in a position to try and swing onto that remaining kit. It's a 3 versus 2. They have a little bit more health from the good graces of Euro, but they have barely any time, so it's time to make the connection. Unfortunately, it's the wrong one for FAV. Yas able to lock out janitor's door. They've got to swing in. Euro gets one more. It's a 2 versus 1. Do they know where the last player is? Oh, they don't quite get the full connection. They're rotating around. They haven't gone for the kit. They're going to go for the fight. Doesn't get it in time. Ran the long way round the desk.
And lost it out due to it. Time running out. If only you managed to pick up on it and hold that F button just in time, it could have been an extension of the round, but it would have been a 1v1 with a damaged Zofia up against the last player on Damwon Kia. But it's 1-1. They managed to get that round win in. continue rotating. And again, a drop on FAV. It seems like Yura
Attackers
disconnecting.
need to locate and defuse
Wow. They've used their tac timeout.
Yeah, and that is the issue here.
Or
You
their
get one
tech
tap,
timeout, even.
according to the rules. Sometimes exemptions are made depending on the situation. But it seems like we get on going here. And DWG continues their setup, and while FAV hasn't even requested for a timeout because they also know it's just one. So I assume there is some issues with Yura, which is why he disconnected earlier. Now they just gotta hope that it doesn't happen again when he comes back, because if this is gonna be every other round,
I mean, that's the sort of tragedy of today for the side of FAV. There's
5 seconds left.
a little bit less taken out of it.
they still continue playing for now. Oh no, we are headed for a rehost. As I said, sometimes exemptions can be made. Every player has left currently and will be rejoining
I
momentarily.
think that's the same Euro freeze frame from the previous camera.
Yeah, he still hasn't reconnect. He probably didn't reconnect to the call, which means that we still have the frame from the last time. Because when we got going, we still had this frame as well.
I don't know this kind of production, but I do like how he's the main camera.
He's the main character now. So.
It's the main character. Just highlight how still.
Okay.
He can sit.
Well, then we have another couple of seconds and minutes to talk about what could happen, what has happened.
In that round?
Hiccups in the meantime as well. Bless you.
What do you mean, bless you?
Well, I don't know else what to say with hiccups. Get better soon. It's like,
You don't say anything. You try and scare them, or you tell them to drink a glass of water upside down. They're the two most common hiccup cures that people will suggest.
drink a glass of water upside down.
I don't know if that was production just went down my ear. I don't know if that was them trying to scare me by making a ghost sound or just a surprise acknowledge, but they just went ooh.
I think Coded is a bit warm. They're putting some fans his direction. It seems like they're turning on the AC.
Yeah, they're pulling it round. The AC for air conditioning, not anti-cheat.
Yeah, the air conditioning one, not the anti-cheat one.
Uh-huh.
Important to know the difference in esports lands, especially today. I like, by the way, how some of the players on DWG are playing with in-ears and then headset over it. And for those of you that do not watch Siege often or any esports at all, you might wonder, like, why don't you just get the sound over your headset? That's due to the LAN, because on LAN you play with in-ears, which gives you your sound. You have the headsets over ear, which will be producing white noise to blend out the crowd, and that will be a microphone as well. So them playing with their in-ears means that they're basically adapting to if they do go back to like a LAN environment. Whereas on the other side, FAV just basically only playing with in-ears here. Standalone mics.
I mean,
turn off his light.
I don't want to take anything away from your point. I think it's a good point. I think they've all got in-ears, so they're using them because they've got good in-ears.
Yeah, that's well. In-ears do okay.
I can't
Personally,
remember.
in-ears give better sound to me than headsets do. For
Yeah, they do because it's they're more uncomfortable for
Yeah.
long-term use unless you get very nice ones.
That's
And
very
I'm
true.
assuming esports players that have been on major stages will have proper custom ones. But also the downside of in-ears is no mic.
Yeah,
So
hence the headsets.
I like how
Standalone.
Rin just uses the desktop mic. Because they break your theory there that they're all trying to...
Yeah, no, Rin doesn't
Prep.
want to prep for LAN. If
I don't think they're prepping for that.
No.
I
I'm not saying it's prep for
with
LAN.
two
It's
rounds
playing in
in-
the same environment where they would
We're 2
be.
rounds in and we're on a second rehost here after an unfortunate
Just
delay at the
grasping
start.
onto
I think you're
random things.
grasping onto random things. I don't want to cut you down in front of the thousands of viewers, but I think you're grasping onto random things. So, we've got breaking news. Play the breaking news jingle. Hap.
Easy just did it.
Yeah, but they can't
They
hear.
can't hear that.
So you got to... Breaking news. K-Razor will be stepping in to the FAV roster as a sub because of the difficulties that are happening.
So that's not you.
The camera just swapped to K-Razor, perfectly timed.
As we said it.
K-Razor.
Just need to change the name now. Is the only thing that is. Oh,
Oh.
oh, he's back.
They're back. They're just making sure things are working. K-Raze is in. They'll be doing their best here in the circumstance. Obviously, they tried their hardest to get Euro to be playing. Fair enough. You want yourself at full strength, regardless of whether it's the game that's a make or break or a game of just sort of being the game. But
one thing is for sure, certain. I think K-Razor would have a bigger impact than Euro disconnecting every round.
oh, you would hope.
I would hope, at least. Because that's the thing as well. You get one of those tech timeouts. They have used that on Euro. This one was then to get K-Razor in instead, considering Euro is unable to play. And then we get going again. Up onto the third round of Bank of our game. Which could last somewhere between 12 and 15 rounds. Be quicker, possible as well. And the staff room and open area will be up next. As DWG, of course, continues on their defense. And FAV has set up their lineup. And this is always an interesting thing, what happens. When you have to sub someone in mid-game, of course you haven't been prepping with them, right?
Yeah.
Of course, K-Razor is aware of all the strategies, knows what to do, but they'll probably put him on a role where he feels most comfortable and shift around a little bit as that. Let him do what he wants or how he feels like it.
You say that, but it's FAV who have played with K-Razor almost as much this season.
No, of course.
In the roster, where it was Typon was the sort of back and forth role between the sub spot and actually playing in it. Got brought in because of the difficulties they were having. Yeah, I remember if it was on the second or the third Playday.
So they are experienced with playing.
K-Razor has always he's dabbled in play.
It's a six-man roster.
Yeah, in that they're trying to make things work. It's perfect for today to have the preparation.
In these situations, you need to have it, and that's what I'm saying, right? He knows the strategies. He knows what is expected of them. The only thing is that he probably hasn't been scrimming with them over the last week or so. And that is something that you just need to get back into quickly here. Maybe gets to play a bit more on a comfortable position. With 5 attacks, they are looking to find 2, maybe 3 rounds over the course of this first half to find themselves in a decent enough position to approach the rest of the Bank.
Wow, from now on, Yura, I'll be sitting on the sidelines, hoping that the team could try and piece it together, because to be honest, their start was sort of well put together. There was a lot of confidence here, and unfortunately, the last second change of roster is actually going to be something that adds a little bit more stress regardless. Here's Shin creeping his way super close to what is the open Aruna gate, hoping he can get a nice take on a player on the back end. There's a Banshee gone, and heard the trace from Katsang on the far end, but Katsang's the only body onside the site, and if that's something that gets red, well, Coated is obviously close enough, and he's locking that. I think they've sort of got the idea that there's a close push. Here's the Banshee, and gets themselves a little bit more solid. You can see the quick rotate down the stairs as well. DWG, I think, sort of went, well, hang on, we might be being red here.
And they're definitely putting up some pressure onto that top floor. Rotations have been made. Boogeyman is just hiding now inside the office, hoping to pick one off guard. And as that drone rolls by, doesn't get the spot out. It is going to be whether or not he checked, and he did not. Typon will find the first kill. Locks out Boogeyman, and that is now the hatch under control. Janitor that he can play with here. There might be some verticalities he could go for. If he would have checked, it's Coda that finds the response, brings it back to a 4-on-4. Make sure that at least for now, Janitor not really being used as Afro is in a very scrappy gunfight. The second player of DWG pops up. Yas will find that kill, and will drop the diffuser momentarily.
Wow, the diffuser is dropped, and they find themselves now in this 4 versus 3. FAV on the back foot and on the far end. Going to try and pick up sticks and pull themselves back round for what could have been an early strike round onto the site itself. Now it might be a late game nuke, but 40 seconds and one loose player on the other side of a door just misses the feet. If that rotate had come at a slightly different second, he would have seen it and gotten very easy catch. Yes, especially with how injured he is. Oh, he's going to have a freebie here around the corner. They've got the pings, they've got the prep, and they've got to take. There was the drop pocket and the return around the corner. Didn't actually lose the grenade, pulled off the pin at the second now, but with K-Razor the only one left standing, they're just going to knock on the door of sight and unfortunately get nowhere. DWG find another round, and well, touch wood. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until we're in the round
Still have 5 players on either side.
So we
For
still
now.
have all 10 players.
The issue should be resolved, of course, with K-Rays coming in. And like, there's some curse on them maybe.
Has there ever been a mid-game sub before? Is this a first?
Yes, it has happened, but I don't know which game. I do
Defenders
remember them
protect your
happening.
bombs from being defused by attackers.
Because I'm trying to remember if it's ever happened before. Like, there's been subs, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But a mid-game sub.
I known it's in the rulebook for a while, I believe, which is that it is allowed under certain circumstances.
I guess admin rule at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
admin rules, they know it all, and they always have fun.
You'd hope they know it all.
You hope.
I'm not saying I'm sure that they do, but it would be...
Funny if they don't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no.
I'm trying to think if I ever remember it happening.
I remember it happening, but I cannot tell if it's like a national league or a challenger league where it happened before, if it was a tier 1 league. But I've definitely seen it happen before.
Yeah, I know that there've been subs. Don't get me wrong. I remember once, I think it was Pengu subbed into a tier 3 national league or a tier 4 national league for a Playday.
He's done it with Benelux, and that might be the one.
That shouldn't have been.
Yeah, Easy
well.
protested him back then, so...
Yeah, of course he did. The easy protest is everything. All right, we're in. 2 rounds that have worked in a row, and Rin almost suffers. They were able to, if you remember, 50 minutes ago, the first round that we had, Rin was able to get the early kill, the lead in here on the side of server. This time they haven't quite been gifted the same, but look at this quick pressure. They really wanted to try and swing that corner. Shin was huge as the lead in here. They were sort of looking for these fights. Kotad's offering some support and safety here on the side of Rin. The beepers and the procs come around the corner. They're ready to try and pop the players as soon as they can get close. Rin's going to buy themselves as much time as possible. It's sort of a suicide place to hold, but that's the job. Light, in the meantime, on the back end, they've got yellow pings on 1 player. Are they going to be able to find some success on the hunt? Well, they don't need to be. Shin gets Yas, gets the lockout, gets control of the hatches.
Yeah, they want to make sure they have control of the open area, and they have gotten that now. So they can start working on opening up those angles. Makes Rin's position even harder to play, because it will literally be stuck right behind that server stack. Because Kotad now, you know, that gets opened up. He has to fall back. He can no longer stick around. So Rin is truly on a mission of his own right now.
That's it. But you sort of know the goal that you have when you're playing this spot. You sort of have to have a lock-in, and well, from that point, you can hear the cams popping off. Can they get a bit of a lockout on the remaining players? There's the reveal still. Rin's still in a power place at this point. They've been removed, so the pressure's got to start to come a bit now. You can see FAV, they're swinging on the door. There's another cam. There's more attention and focus paid, and there's the catch. Very, very well played there from the drive of FAV. They've got the 5 versus 3 advantage. They're now angling above the hatch as well. You can see that they're sort of eyeing up the same pressure they did before. The breach onto the plant will come through as the fires popped a little bit earlier there. I'm not sure if that was from the guns of DK or from FAV, but that was definitely DK. Kotad, and Light gets one instantly back.
Nice long angle help from the back of the bomb chassis there, and now they just need to try and hold on. They have some smoke canisters. One will be used to get rid of the player that is on the main stairs. Stop them from truly progressing here. Waste as much time as you possibly can. The fire pops off as well. That's all just going to be working towards that goal, as there is going to be a concussion send in. Smoke canisters to follow up. Katsing is looking to find himself dug in deep near the actual vault, so he can do something with that C4, take out some players, maybe even stop the plant from happening. But they need to be quick, because Typon, he's descending on the main stairs right now.
Well, the pop of a canister no longer there, but 15 seconds. They got to start trying to be there. Typon with a great first take, a 4 versus 1. Katsang all that's left. He's trying to find the first. Cannot. K-Razor. The last second step in. I say last second, it happened during the game. I guess it's not really a last second step in.
It's like a team T2 or something like that.
The second round step in is able to get the end of that. A 2-2. Both of them won down on that basement site though. So DK still have a lot going for them.
And that means FAV, they would prefer to win any of the next couple of rounds as well, to truly set themselves up in a decent position to be approaching the rest of Bank. Now we've seen this side played out before. It seems like we might see a very similar hold coming out from DWG. Basically, there was a lot of control from FAV. They managed to get the trades going their way. It's just that where the final 5 players were alive, things started to go south just a little bit. Think about the wrong side, you know, running the long way around the desk rather than the short way, which could have prevented you or running out of time. Those kind of things. And if FAV, they approach at the same time, or the same way, they know where these down-one Kia players are going to be playing. If these long angles are again going to be held from Katzing, for example, near the long desk rather than inside Janitor, you know it's going to be relatively safe to send someone into Janitor to get that under control. But that is, of course, the question, and you need to get drones out to see if that's indeed the case.
Okay, 2 apiece, FAV, and with all the troubles, can they sort of find themselves a bit cemented? Rin is trying to find a very early fight here, but I think they'll be under a little bit more pressure. It seems like a very good early few step-ins that we're getting from FAV here. Whether they're paying full attention or not, they know that what they want to sort of drive the attention towards. They know where they want to get the awareness from. And then from that, they've seemingly been able to pull some pieces together on the back end of it. They were close last time they were here with Euro stepped up in the roster. It was a 2 versus 1, but they went the wrong way around a long table and couldn't even get the hold on the plant. It doesn't mean they get the round, but it at least means there's a chance rather than the timeout that otherwise occurred. A quick breach here. The focus paid from Shin, the extra second saved. They know are precious.
This will put some pressure up on that hallway and make sure that no one can just sneak up like that, because there's always the, well, guess or opportunity of one of those attackers holding off. That is 2 ADSs caught, or 2 ADSs catching, a 3 actually, onto the EMPs. That's quite an odd thing.
They wanted to impact the castle, but then it just hit straight into the gate instead. The Aruna gate is going to stop that being popped open. We think of the power position that was played before where the last players were standing, and, well, Rin, what are you going to be able to pull off here? We hear the pre-fire. They're droning on the corner. They're watching on the window behind you. The drone is on the other side of that pillar. We see the outline. They do not. Oh, Rin, this is a very dangerous gamble. It does not pay off. I was about to say it takes a second and it takes a sliver of a cent, and Shin is handed 1, but a minute 10. They get their early lead in. They get that first very late on. Can they try and move behind it now?
Again, all they need to do is get rid of the player that is inside of Janitor. After that, it is going to be quite smooth sailing here for the side of FAV, as that just opens up a fight towards just horizontal, one-directional fights rather than having to worry about crossfires that you're walking into. Light holding off here as well. He's stopping any rotation back towards the majority of that site. So if they do manage to isolate these players, Katzing is in a fight of his own.
That's it. Imagine if that castle had been successfully dropped. That's entirely the difference of the position Katzing can play and whether they can really try and get the plant down. The pressure's onto Janitors, the pressure's on the windows, and the pressure's on Coated. Caught out there, type on. Finds the first on the swing round. They're tucked behind now. They're going to see if they can try and get the plant behind the chassis. Katzing just misses the edge. We saw it, but we got the outline to help us. They do not. The spray comes through, but it won't connect it to post plant. Boogeyman's got to try and move up. They can't quite get it on the Azami, but they find it on the far end. There's the post plant caught. But outside on the windows, Woogie, you've got to go for a bit of a hop out here. 2 Stactors, 2 stories. They're sprayed from behind, though. Just a single player left. Katzing. K-Razor finds one more once again. Caught out. It's type on, and it's FAV in the lead.
Well done by FAV, and they managed to clear out Janitor Army. After that, they inserted themselves into the site. They realized last time, oh, there is that one player in the office that just uses that little angle right next to the barricade to shoot us down as we try and go for the plant. What about we dig in a bit further? We get behind that bomb chassis. We get behind the bulletproof casing. It's safe to go for a plant there, and that's what they use. That's how they managed to get that round, and that is why they are now leading. And down Kia going, continuing their rotation towards the staff room and open area. But I did mention it before, the last time FAV played that previous round onto CEO, they were quite close. It's just these last minor missteps that led them to be losing that round that they have fixed for that last one. The same could be said about this current site. If they manage to get everything going right now, do not have such a big scrappy fight around the main stairs where you lose 2 players whilst taking down 2 down-one Kia players to about, well, 20 HP each, certainly the tables turn into your favor.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It's bank, it's early doors, and it's still trying to find the feet, but as I said, very early onto this, down-one Kia are on a back foot. They got to try and win everything. They got to try and drive themselves if they want a seat at the table of Sweden once again, the place where they made their first major sort of statement, their first major sort of stand. And, you know, at this point, we're, I guess, going to get a bit of a drive through and have that confidence if only they can pull a major victory, because you're against FAV, you're against the team, the first team, the only team out of the contention of this.
I'm just going to say now, if they lose this, they're not going to be qualifying on points for the Sixth Invitational. And that will be a big blow for Damwon Kia, after, of course, being hailed as the best that APAC North had to offer, but not really being able to show up for it. And now they probably have lost that title. Cyclops is really stepping up well in this meta and are seeming to be running away with it. It's going to be an RC Retiro that is not receiving any further signals due to the Mute Gemmers in place. So it's going to be a ticking time bomb there. If they do manage to get rid of the Mute Gemmer, that will blow up still. But no piece of utility there you would really lose, so you just leave it be.
The steady roll and whir of a drone out on a dance, trying to find its way through. Typon with a quick drop round, but it's K-Razor to find the first. They're looking for the second inside. Do they capture the rotate? They do. Typon gets Yas caught out on the back. Afro has one more, and Woogieman is suddenly surrounded. The door falls. And so does a player on the swing. K-Razor, they've really stepped in to the slot on the roster coat. It suddenly blinked and he missed all of his teammates being taken out. The only one inside the site, the C4, doesn't quite get the catch. Great movement there from the sledge above. The shotgun's pop locked and ready to lock and load. The drone will give a bit of a reveal. It opens the rotation. There's pings on the players, onside beepers. Really, it's very impossible to defend how many routes are through into open. It's not just a small box, it's a lot of routes. So steps in, went for a risk. Not else you can really do at that point, but
yeah,
that is 4-2.
That's 4-2 for FAV, and we have to say, Coded, he did everything he could do there. Like, if he waits, he's going to be shut down from 3 different angles at the same time. He needed to eliminate at least one of them by taking the initiative and pushing in. Didn't work out there. FAV leading 4-2. Now onto their defense they go. And Damwon Kia seeming a bit disjointed. Things not really working out for them. Whilst their major dream, their 6 invitational opportunities are starting to slip away, FAV decided that 185 days has been enough. It's time to get an extra victory on the board. First time since the last game of Stage 1.
Imagine.
Again, we said it before. Imagine if it's against Damwon Kia.
Imagine if FAV's first win since the end of Stage 1, many, many moons ago, is against Damwon Kia.
And not just Damwon Kia, but Damwon Kia looking to still maintain their dream of making it to the major.
Imagine if it's FAV on a day where they had to last second swap in a player. Can't argue with the performance K-Razor's put in so far. 4-1. And obviously, it's a 2-story game. We are propping this up with the idea that it's over. It's obviously not. It's just fun to talk about in that sort of grandeur of terms because it's a grand possibility. It is a possibility. And that's that sort of thing right now. That's that worrying moment here for Damwon Kia. They're missing Rin and Yas. They're missing 2 huge fraggers. Coated is the only positive player on the roster right now. And sure, they're on defense. They're battening down the hatches. They'll now have the chance at a drive there. But there's a Twitch drone caught out by Shin playing this quite aggressively. A steady clear over the top. The fight and the reveal just misses. The Mozzie on the slip and the slink away. K-Razor's out of there. But look at the Twitch location. Look at the pressure they're applying elsewhere. You assume they're going to fire through onto the soft. They are. But K-Razor's still able to escape that as well.
Yeah, the ping, of course, a little bit disjointed from the position he was actually in at that moment in time. As Yas does find light, so that's going to be a great opener here for the side of Damwon Kia as they attack that basement. Extra pings are coming through, the footsteps still being scanned. They have the ID now that someone indeed has fallen back. You need to be careful, though, if you have the eye knocks on, because it does blur your vision. There you have it. K-Razor just takes him out. That is going to be bringing it back to a 4-4. And K-Razor can retake that top floor.
I mean, K-Razor, game of the life right now. Who says they need Ash? Reddit chat. Well, maybe. Katsang able to take care of K-Razor on the swing round. There's a fight back. It's scrappy and Typon doesn't get the full tail of it. Katsang is able to slip away the second time as Yas puts pressure inside the site. Shin now is going to get a little bit of support here. Green, they just watch the body slowly fall down. They're going to pull themselves back towards Garage and peel off. You're looking at a lot of time for the 4 remaining Damwon Kia players left at this point. It's felt at points a bit of a quick drive. And here now, there's a momentary lapse, a moment for Damwon Kia to rebuild, restructure, take care of the hatch, and do some of the structural work they messed up before. The ping on some canisters that need to be popped sooner rather than later. They're missing one on the far end, but there's, I believe, the last that's otherwise tucked in. And they'll just set themselves up with some coverage.
Just making sure that they have everything necessary, set themselves up above the hatches, and probably will have to go for a very well executed push all at the same time while still having to cover up above when necessary. 30 seconds before that plant needs to come down. Shin goes aggressive. Typon finds one, finds a second one before the trade comes in. It's only up to Typon now, but look how aggressive he is under that hatch. There's someone still behind him. Does he know? Koda finds him. As soon as he flaked back and down on Kia, they will find a round.
Turned away at what could be the worst possible second there for Typon. Did a huge drive. And a huge bit of attention paid towards, I guess, the sort of setup there. But Damwon Kia, they just held on, held a bit firm, took their first. Can they build some energy behind it? I think it's, I guess, more than that. Will they? They've got to. It's sort of this sorted story right now because you're still seeing FAV have these plays. You're still seeing FAV have these moments where they're getting away with things that they shouldn't be.
That's it, right? They managed to find themselves in such an aggressive situation. First of all, Typon shouldn't have been allowed to play under that hatch, find a kill, and just stay there for like more than 20 seconds. Time was starting to run out. Imagine if you would have gotten the kill onto the player pushing him from the hatch. Suddenly, you're in time pressure. You need to be peeking someone with an MX4 Storm that has a bomb chassis around him. It's not an ideal situation to be in as a Damwon Kia player. Who, as you just mentioned, they have to step up. They have to win this because otherwise, it is end of story. As FAV set themselves up, there's a massive change compared to what we've seen from Damwon Kia compared to what we see from FAV right now. A Rook compared to a Castle. Now the Rook is going to give you those little nice vests that give you extra bits of HP. Also make sure you do go into a DBNO before an instant kill, unless it's a headshot. Grenades from below are going to be even less, well, damaging if they hit them, but the cluster charges might actually be nerfed by these as well, without them knowing.
K-Razor stepping up, stepping in, and stepping out around the swing there towards Square. They're looking for, hopefully, anybody that gets a little bit too close to the fire, as Katsang does some control on the back end, breaks the barbs, and potentially allows a route up for a bit of a sneaky player. Typon is also peering out the window, trying to find anybody that might be there. It's a steady approach here from the side of Damwon Kia. They're kind of keeping an awareness, but it's risky because FAV are making sure they're terrified of every moment.
FAV is really bringing out the aggression here towards Damwon Kia, and these RC Rotero as well, they drop through but don't really do much, as you can see. Like, they get onto the main stairs, but that's about it. That's not what you're looking for here. Typon is close to a potential jump out, but look at all the claimers out there. That is not going to be safe for him if he decides to go through with it. Potentially result in loss of life as well, so he needs to stay active where he currently is onto the mezzanines.
Oh, Typon does get caught out. Kotad's able to find the first all the way from the back end, the big windows on the far end that you can never truly forget about. That's proven there by a bit of control, more calls, more Damwon Kia trying to set themselves up there, almost hoping the FAV make these mistakes that they can sort of put the pressure on in their own special, preoccupied way. But at this point, FAV, they're kind of dabbling with that danger. They're not entirely throwing themselves in. They've got a more traditional hold here set up, the hard wall on the far end towards the default plant spot. It's something that, to be honest, Damwon Kia, they like playing against defaults. They're prepped and they're happy in that position. Kotad's gone up to join the rappel onto the windows. Might go over the top. They flirted with a high rappel, but 45 seconds. Damwon Kia, where are you going to knock on the door from?
Again, as long as K-Razor is alive in Janitor and Shin is right next to him on the long desk, it is going to be quite difficult to go for the rappel in for these Damwon Kia players, because as soon as that sound comes through, and it's very distinctive, swings will start to come in as well. And as these concussions come through with the meaning to stun, it is going to be FAV that instantly fires back with some canisters himself, but the plant is going down.
Yeah, Woogieman's going to stick the plant on the other side of the canister. They don't quite have the angle. That one will get above it, but it's a post-plant situation. K-Ray gets scraped on the way out the door. But in the meantime, they've got it locked off. It was a very good cover there with the sound of the calls. Afro finds Yas on one. It's such a dangerous retake. That was out on the windows itself, but they're tucked down. They have another window player. Katsang's been able to find K-Razor. They have another window player. There's always another position, and it's hard to gauge exactly where they are. They do not need to throw themselves into this engagement. You've often got to throw yourself out the window to meet them, and well, you can see that Damwon Kia, they're playing this with a bit of range. Afro, surely you don't get away from this, Wookieman! Wookieman solid snaked his way, and Fresh pulled a very funny face on the analyst's desk. Wookieman.
I don't know what to say about that. The plan's going through, the diffuser's coming in, they're not really panicking. Wookieman is just snaking through, finds the kill, brings it back to 4-4. Just another day at the office, right? And FAV, they found themselves in the lead, but now find themselves equalized.
What's occurring?
I have no clue. This entire game has been a mess from the start. Like the reconnects and the sub going through. Like the sub doing super well as well. K-Razor. And that snake, it's all over the place. We're going to see many different dimensions of Siege today.
Yeah.
But open area is the next side. FAV, they are yet to find a success on their defense as they continue down their rotation, not willing to rerun as of yet. They need to make sure they do not give away that first pick that easily, because that has been costing them.
Yeah, they've definitely had their struggles in terms of that sort of early moment here. I mean, it's 2 rounds now. The first was closer. It's not entirely fair to call it close because it was still hero positions and plays that were pulling that round back into the favor of FAV. Damwon Kia, they're getting themselves set up, and all of the sort of movements of FAV, they're being aggressive. They're trying to find these holes, but Damwon Kia is not offering anything to them. I think they're sort of playing this with that modicum of control. We're starting to get a little bit more from the guns as well. Obviously, the push on the plant there is what you needed. More even players, more close to. Rin still hasn't quite been able to have a connection, but as long as the objective plays going together, if Rin's causing a commotion elsewhere, they're still doing a job that will help DK.
The pressure that Rin is able to exert with getting that sledgehammer going, with putting up some verticality here and there, that doesn't really translate into kills directly, right? So that is something to keep in mind as well. The longer Rin stays alive, the more damage you can do. So you gotta look at it from that way. And someone doesn't have any kills on the board as of yet. And Light for now seems to have gone relatively unspotted near the ATM machines. He's hoping to find someone on the rappel. Might actually find someone there, but the head...
It's tricky to see. It's so bright.
Yeah, I was going to say it's quite bright there, so unable to actually spot out the player who's on that rappel. But he's still hanging there.
Still there? Still there in a position. Light, they might miss an opportunity. There's a bit of movement here. They have an easier angle. Now they have the easiest shot, and they're too late. Just Katsang slips away. Now there's the big reveal that there was a player there. Katsang should be dead, but
Multiple times over.
It's a lot easier for us to say that from this position than Light, who assumes they're being watched. That's the thing. If you're playing that with your bars up at that point, it's not just a matter of thinking you're being droned. It's a matter of assuming that they're hunting you. Here, Steady Break starts to come across the top. They've got the Monty, they've got the breach onto Stock Hatch. They've got a minute left. They're doing all the structural work they can. You're still looking at 2 C4s, at least in the pockets of FAV. They're ready to maybe go for this, but the plant itself is going to go down. It's on the far corner. Is anyone there? K-Razor, you got to do a bit of reaction. They're smashing through the Azamis. The Azamis were stopping them get through. Afro finds 2. There's a spray up the stairs. Rin finally finds their first. Finds their second not long after. A 3 versus 3. They try to go for an aggressive retake up the stairs itself. The drop on the Monty is an important part, but so is this. The vertical control that has been stretched out here. It's directly watched, and Wookieman gets one more. There's a third for Rin. They've just given a staircase to Wash. Shin has been able to creep their way up here, and those keeper barricades stop them being able to stop the plant. There's at least a spray round on the back. The shotgun of Shin gets one more, but not for very long. Damwon Kia pull ahead.
Why clear out the entire map if you can also just clear out a single hatch and drop in a Monty with the diffuser and a turtleback? Right? So that's all they needed to do, to just get the plan down. No one was there to reply to them. They found out way too late. C4s flew over, but you know at that time the diffuser was already down, and 45 seconds of counting. You do not have top floor control. That's all they had. They had top floor control. That's it. All they had, top floor control.
You saw them hitting the ones on beepers to get through to hit the C4. It's like it's a frustrating moment because it's that single swing, because they were then able to make the swing and put the C4 and loose it and get the pickup with the pistol and the secondary on.
Yeah, they got the kill. Was like when he grabbed the shield and the legs were exposed, it couldn't extend yet. So like, but it's already the diffuser's
Here
down
as well, trying to all of them funnel up white stairs instantly.
I mean, you gotta retake top floor control.
You have to retake it.
You have to retake it. You don't win otherwise.
You send 2 in with about 2 seconds between them.
You just give enough time for reset for it.
Yeah, and then the third came up about 10 seconds later.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Attackers are moving out to
Wow.
For a second, I thought he disconnected there. He was standing right still.
Looking for drones?
Yeah.
None to be found.
They're going for a bit of a spawn peek. Of course, you get detected way earlier than back in the day when you had a bit of extra time. Sometimes people would jump up on top of those plant boxes there and fire towards the alley. See if you could actually find 1 or 2. It's no longer the case now in this current iteration of Siege. But Kia, they found themselves a full rotation on the attack, and now they need to attack the basement again, where there is going to be some denial. I mean, 2 yokais and a C4. That's really all there is. So this is a very roam-heavy game that we're seeing from FAV.
Kel Supri. Here we have pressure coming across the top end. They're looking to try and hunt out K-Razor, who hasn't quite been able to have as big an impact here on the defense as they did on some of the rounds on the attack. Do they know roughly where they are? Do they know how much pressure's coming? That's on the window. That does a lot of damage to Katsang, but he pulls away on the rappel just in time to not get dropped. Type on with a swing around the corner. The calls are constant. There's going to be a reveal of footprints, and that's on Mozzie, the other player. Do they know how close Type on is? Now they do. K-Razor takes a lot of damage, though, on the back end from the reveal somewhere else. Type on and K-Razor under huge bouts of pressure. Hits the ankle. It's just everybody missing each other until Yas finally finds the end of one of the players. Typon entirely surrounded, has the hatch to drop if he wants to take it, but he wants to take a player out first on the route through. The calls still coming through, and there's finally a swing round, but does not get the lockdown. Rin downed but not out.
Too greedy there, wanting to stick around whilst the entirety of Damwon Kia is slowly starting to circle around you there. We talked about it before. The setup, the roam, was going to be crucial for FAV here. They need to waste as much time as possible. To some extent, they exceeded in that. 2 minutes wasted as Light around to come around the corner. Definitely made some noise here. Are they aware? Afro goes down. Light needs to confirm this kill. Will do so. It's going to be swinging as well. Finds Katsang, and it's back to an effective 2-on-3. But Afro might be able to be recovered here.
Oh, it's a dangerous catch. Yas is on the hatch above as well. He's going to swing onto the corridor. This is the important moment. There's the pickup and the reveal, though, unfortunately. No rotation, too little, too late, and Yas now has a rough idea on where that last player is. It's a 3 versus 2 once again. Light, are you going to see if you can try and overstay a welcome? Oh, unfortunately so. Yas drifts on by, finds what that gun can do, finds himself back on an even KD, and Shin is suddenly in a 3 versus 1, 20 seconds. Does have at least some time as they try and batten down the hatches. They're going to go for a take here on the back end. They've got themselves locked towards the far end of the plant itself. I think both Echo drones at this point are gone, so it's just down to paying attention. The first onto green, the reveal on where the player is. They should be able to tuck themselves in on the back end of site and plant behind the chassis. They keep them at bay. The sprays come across the board. They can't quite get the lock in. It's tough with that as the secondary SMG. I assume they're on a supernova primary because of this. They can't quite find the end of it. A post plant. 3 versus 1. Still barely any health. None left. Yes! Finds a huge round.
Actually still had a Yoko drone, but it was under his feet. There's not much you can do if you're playing next to your Yoko drone, because you'll be taken out before you get it. Was unable to place it into the right spot, so we could actually utilize it there. So that's unfortunate for the side of FAV, and suddenly they were 4-2 up, and then they are 4-6 down. Match point. 2 of them for Damwon Kia to continue their run through a potential major. We said it before, they need to basically get 9 points, hope Reject drops 1 or 2, and they are in good positions. They are in a good place. And Reject still plays on today. That could still happen today. But all DWG needs to do is just lock it off within the next 2 rounds. They do not need overtime. They cannot afford overtime in any of the next 3 games. And as FAV sets up again, this time a castle will be out. And I like to see that change, because even though I'm all up for trying different operators from time to time, they lacked of not having the castle barricades out there, because the windows were opened up, the entire side has been dissected. You cannot be inside any of these 2 rooms without being shot. And this castle barricade will change that. That will give some variety to Shin, some opportunity to actually play, swing around, stop them from taking control of the site, and making a plant happen.
Well, with all the timeouts happened before, FAV are just going to see if they can try and keep it rolling. They were so close to doing something monumental, and then unfortunately, has proven once again, this is a game of 2 halves, and DWG definitely had a much better control on their attack after what was seemingly a bit of a lost defense half. Fair to them, they didn't take a timeout. For them, that was sort of par for the course. It could have been a 5-1 though. This doesn't seem like it will be anymore. Shin taken care of by Yas. Yas got a response off though. Taipon's able to lock them out on the windows. The player who pulled multiple kills on the previous round and started to drive a bit of force back into the gunfight to the team. Able to at least remove the first.
Still confusing what Shin was actually doing there. Might have still been busy with some small setup work, as she will be taken care of by the RC Retiro. Makes that hallway a bit harder to play, like with a double jump out. Will be picked up by the Claymore, but that's the diffuser gone. That's 2 players extra gone off the board. Brings it to a 2-on-3 for FAV now.
Well, we talked about the importance of the jump outs on the window. Please don't tell me they're going for another one. They're looking for the fight here. Taipon's holding the angle. The hack on the camera will at least come through for them.
He's definitely thinking about it.
He was thinking about it, but now, cameras in their control. 1:20. A lot of time here. Rin's on the far end looking for a swing round. The shield, as we saw, was dropped earlier on today, so they can try and get themselves closer and closer. One inside Janitors, just on the rotate between there and long desk. Could be the first fight. The crouch walk, will it be successful? Nobody's there to be caught as of yet, but it just takes a little sliver of audio. The flashes, the blinds over the top. They're going to see if they can open a space for Coated, who will pull another call. And there's the reveal, just tucked around on the soft wall. The break on the Aruna gate. You can hear that they're about to try and go for the plant itself behind the desk and likely onto the chassis. The tuck round. They're looking just for a route through here. It's nothing they can do without this first. A little bit of work from the DMR, and the DMR is all that's left to work with. The swing around, the replication, the pre-fire onto the close angle, but FAV are offering nothing as an extension. The one in the elevator has the swing for when they need it. They don't need it yet. They've decided they're waiting for someone else to be in the fight, and there it is. FAV find their first round in a long time. One separates them from OT.
Massive jump out there, finding out 2 players up on the rappel, changed the entire round. And indeed, 1 round away from reaching overtime, from, again, picking up a point in a game, but still a bit away from finding themselves a victory. Again, DWG cannot afford themselves overtime, because that is extra points they need to cover up against Sandbox and Reject. So overtime might as well be the end of their run at the very same time. I kind of hoped that they would have been a bit more passive, though, inside the Janitors there. As soon as we saw the DMR starting to try and open up a rotational, which seemed like it would have been possible, if you would have just held on a little bit tighter, you might have been able to actually sneak in, but that's all these what-ifs and hindsight 2020 stuff, you know?
Hindsight 2020.
Isn't that 2020? Hindsight is 2020? Isn't that the saying?
Yeah, no. But you said it like a year. You're like, hindsight 2020.
No. Okay, sorry, my bad.
I remember that year.
I remember that year as well. It's not
Perfect vision.
I did not.
10 seconds left.
The joke is this 2020 vision. Optometrist jokes. Milosh is somewhere laughing.
See, I never understood the 2020 vision. Like, why 20? Why not 100 for perfect vision? It doesn't make sense.
Because then you gotta imagine grading someone's eyes and being like, yeah, you're a 72 out of 100. Congrats. Ooh, they were almost a 0 out of 100 as they were knocked on the window. The pressure's coming all the way across the boards. Light, who are you looking to find? That's the risk, because the risk, is it one worth paying? We talked about sticking around here and overstaying your welcome on the top before. K-Raze is the first gone. Rin caught out the middle. They have themselves sort of propped up inside open. They're saying, take the hatch, rotate, I dare you. And that really forces an awkward game to be played here by the remaining FAV players on the top floor.
Yeah, the janitor room, well, they can still play in it, but that hatch, that is going to be a bit of a death sentence here. So, as Afro plays aggressively, or at least holds near the elevator door, of course, has the opportunity to rotate back up or down from any of these hatches if he finds the opportunity to. But all Rin just has to do is stay alive as Afro finds Yas. That's a great kill. And now he goes on the hunt towards Rin to secure the open area and the hatch drop again.
Oh, it's a huge moment there. Afro takes care of Rin. Light finds Katzang as well. Suddenly it's a 4 versus 2. And suddenly Damwon Kia find themselves in a bit of a tizzy. There is a bit of danger. I was going to comment on the fact that pretty much every single FAV player, I believe, was off the site. Now they're suddenly all rotating back down. They got their bodies, they got their men, and now they're happy to try and rebuild on the site itself. They've taken out pretty much everything. And the kit is far away and cold. It's going to come down to a massive rotate to sort of get it recollected here. They're going to have to do a lot of work in between it. It's going to be a bit of a fight straight through onto the site itself. They're looking for it via blue. The flash round on the corner. There's nothing outside of, you know, inside Coated's pockets to try and give himself a little bit more than the flashes. But look at this, just the rotation of FAV all the way back down. The two exothermics might still be able to do some work on the hatch and the default plant wall, but FAV, this should be their round.
This should be their round. They should be able to pick this one up with quite a bit of ease. There's a bit of a pre-fire attempt. Comes through, a beautiful hatchet from Coda, brings it back to a 3-on-2. Not more doable, certainly. They managed to isolate 1 or 2 more players. The issue is that they need to get that wall open still. The lucky thing is, Boogeyman is still out here with 2 exothermics, so we'll do exactly that. And you take a look over towards the left side of your screen. Impact grenades is all they have to stop this together with the angle that Afro holds from Garage. If they manage to isolate this one player, all they can do is just try and toss some impact grenades at it and hope that it's going to be enough, as that's a punch hole, almost resulting into a kill. The plant will be going down, 45 seconds on the clock. Damwon might be able to get away with this.
Oh, the flash goes out over the top. They're at least able to find one on the way out the door. The swing round, Boogeyman is spraying, but FAV, just hold on. They are able to get the diffuser. Look at sort of, ooh, that was closer than it should have been at the end there, but they get themselves 2 OT, and I am not sure how this shapes the fate of Damwon Kia, because now Damwon Kia cannot get the full 3 points. Yep. The best that they can do is get 8, which puts them at the same amount of points as Fnatic.
It is a 6 or 14% chance of qualifying for the major, instead of a 24 if they would have won. It would have still been dire, but
it would have still been dire. But
to put it in perspective, all they would have needed to do was win against Sandbox and win the next game, and they overtake Sandbox based on the fact that head-to-head is the first tiebreaker. And then they would have hoped that Reject lost 1 point. That's all that needed to happen. Now, Sandbox needs to lose points, Reject needs to lose points, Fnatic needs to lose points.
A lot of stuff.
Seeing how this starts to line up, with every point they gain less, is the more reliable they will be, or the more reliant they will be on the opposing teams in the league.
They need a Cinderella story.
Yes, and it's becoming more and more like it. Like, it's starting to become more and more impossible for them to actually qualify. Especially if they don't pick up any extra points out of this overtime here.
Oh, FAV. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with my heart like this right now. You've got yourself back into OT when everything felt a little bit lost. And so many rounds have been put in a row by Damwon Kia. You find 2. And now you find yourself in overtime. Still on your defense. Still playing a bit of a stretch here. Afro is down in the basement. They've thrown out an irritant into Dirt Tunnel. Just the Prisma to sort of put a constant ping on the attacks. I think they've realized that there's not really a player that goes directly to that route, so if they leave one there and sort of let them do their top floor clear here, Rin got the opener, and then suddenly it was a bit of a bite back from the side of FAV before they pulled themselves back round. They're going to see if they can try and do the same. Shepherd these loose players. With the gamble of having so much above and how long you sit there, it's one that you've won and you've lost, which will be the turn this way. K-Raze is going to be the first to maybe find the engagement. Swings around, cannot get the full connection with Rin, who takes a lot of damage.
But again, the opening kill, though, and that is the most important part. The last time, unfortunately, unable to capitalize on it, as Afro, being aggressive from the elevator, found Yes, then aggressed onto Rin as well, stopping the open area from being under their control, and went all down south after that. But as they managed to find the first, and they're starting top down, this could be an opportunity for Damwon Kia.
Yeah, they're not giving themselves too much over towards the guns. FAV, they realize how sharp that they can be. Shin, he's rotated his way up. They're holding just on the side of the door. I don't think they know that they've rotated to the pillar. They're going to see him in a second. The call comes through. No. Just missed. Woogieman is the one that's trying to apply pressure, but it's coming from the back. Light finds Coated. In the meantime, they're really trying to dig Light out here, but he's able to at least find the player that's going for the direct route through behind him. Woogieman is still on the top. Typon and Shin have both come to offer some support here to this player that is being hunted by at least 3 Damwon Kia players. Cannot find Rin. Who's able to find their second here. The swing round, and suddenly they've bit into another one. There's one more for Woogieman. They threw everything at the hope of being able to try and get a refrag there, and it leaves just Afro. And they seem to know exactly where Afro's coming from. The pre-fire round. At this point, you got to know where you got to go, because they're going towards the site itself. The calls come. The pre-fire as well, they've just got to make a connection with the site and the floor. They've got the hatches, they've got the control, and they've got themselves breached and open. You can see they're still working. Damwon Kia's not going to overexert themselves, even with the 4-1 advantage. They're not wasting it. They find another round and another map point.
Well, I was afraid for a second there because they knew exactly where he was. He shot from the teller's office, and yet no one is in sight to at least take some control into their own hands. But they managed to win it in the end. Either way, Damwon Kia again find themselves onto a match point situation. This time, though, it's only for 1 extra point that they would be able to pick up on. And that's not ideal compared to how they would have liked to end today against a FAV who has been winless in the APAC North Division for the past half year. But for now, again, it seems like all FAV can do is pick up a point unless they turn it around in some quick fashion, and they will be going towards the attack now. This gives them the opportunity to send some pace. So who knows, they might be able to go for a bit of a quick rush down one of the avenues and see if they can surprise Damwon Kia, or they play it as they usually do, a bit more reserved. Try and play into the weaknesses of Damwon Kia on this particular defense, because they've lost this twice already. What's to say they won't lose it a third time?
10 seconds left.
Okay, FAV, do we have some of what was your opening half here on attack? We're back down in the basement, but Damwon Kia are the ones who have once again been able to prop themselves up here onto map point and maybe not doubling down onto an attack is something that might work out in their favor. They did take one of their end ones. It could have been a 5-1 half for FAV on their attack. There's sort of a lot of differences here, but it's teams that have had a lot of a game in between here and then, which feels so long ago. Okay, Razor, paying some attention towards the bottom of square, making sure that there's a bit of fear from the side of Damwon Kia. You got to make sure that these roamers that might be playing the loose game aren't so confident here. They're not really giving themselves that loose game. Damwon Kia play themselves a little bit closer towards the site itself. They're making sure that there's no overextension.
The top floor slowly falling as the drones head down. Shin again going to try and get on top of this little side table. He's wasted about a minute last time around.
Listen, guys, it works. I promise you it works. Listen.
Oh, that's instantly over. That's probably not what he meant to go for.
No, that is not what he meant to go for.
So he's going to try again.
He pulls back. You can see Light had the deagle, and I think that there was somebody that was rotating around the bottom of the stairs there, and Light just sort of put a bit of fear into them, so they pulled themselves back down green. The top 2 floors have generally fallen into their favor. They still have a strong server control. That wasn't a big problem at points for them, and then it became one. There's the Aruni gate.
They've just done it.
Yep.
We just missed it, but that's okay. Do they have an extra thermic left, though?
They definitely at least have 2
They have
rocket charges. Yeah, in Afro. No more in Light, who's doing their own work on the far end of the hatches. They have enough to get the breach here, but they're going to use the exothermic on this one instead.
Yeah, what are you going to do for the actual wall now, then, right? It's like they've chosen to go... Ooh. Yeah, I was going to say, blow that up. You're going to be putting Typon on fire right here. But have wasted a very crucial part of the eventual execute strategy by taking out one of these exothermics, because now they're relying on a can opener if they want to be planting right next to the A-bomb chassis. That doesn't work usually.
That's it. You've got to now make a much more specific hole. The pressure's going to come around onto the back end. They've been very good at removing this player before. Rin got one the very first time, and then since then hasn't quite been able to make the same connection. All the ADSs doesn't add up, unfortunately. They get down. Typon takes a lot of damage in the meantime. They got the drop on the player. They're behind it. They'll let someone else pick up the pieces, but you're looking at 40 seconds. Finally, the cement there. Okay, now, what are you going to do about the wall itself? The kit is currently off in Narnia. It's above the hatches on the far end. They're maybe rotating it around. Katsang has the long angle. They've still got some more parts and pops to pop itself. 20 seconds. And the canisters are going to start flying over the top here from the pockets of Coat. It's sooner rather than later. There it is, the connection right with the wall, the pop. But Shin is close to the wall. He's going for the plant under the disguise of it. The drop of the hatch. We talked about this before, and it's trading back and forth. But Shin should make the full connection. Light with a deagle and a Chrismod in his foot. Seeing if he can make a connection with anybody that's swinging either side. But it's Shin from bottom to top that gets it. And Yas from top to bottom that's able to find a second. Off on the top of square now. They're around the back. Coat gets one more. It's Light. They win a 1 versus 1 on the far end in 30 seconds. Inside the corridor, a change of places and fate. But does Light have the call? Oh, yeah, seems to have an idea, Ascent. It's a back and forth, more with the deagle. They pulled themselves back. They're on the other side of a hard wall, chasing the tail. 17 seconds at some point. Yes is going to have to go back. The pings are coming through, though. When does he risk the fight itself? He's running out of time. He's swinging around. He makes a connection. Will he make it in time with the hatch? Will he make it? Oh, I cannot bear to look!
He has not made it, just not in time. He shouldn't have gone for the finish there. Just leave him be. And that would have been your round win. He went for the confirm, and that is what is bringing them to round 15 now. Again, well played by FAV. They did what they had to do. They dropped down the hatch, found the reinforcement, and had to cover on. And they bring us to round 15 to decide who is going to be taking the victory here. And now we have a tactical timeout from Damwon Kia. Because this point matters more than many might realize. At the end of Playday 7, it could be the difference maker between either qualifying or not.
It couldn't have been closer.
It couldn't have been.
You could see it
for half a second.
You could see it from all of their reaction. There was a second there where Coated went to do the fist bump like we'd done it, and then I think he had the moment of we might not have done it.
Yeah.
And you watch their face, their expressions. Now is the time for four.
And you find yourself in a tricky situation now. We need to find this victory. It seemed so close just seconds ago. And yet, it has gotten even further away because one slip-up means the end of this game, means FAV takes it. And your dream, your run, it's looking even more dire.
They're on defense.
They are on defense.
That's the thing that worries.
I was going to say, it doesn't help them.
That's the thing that pulls away. This has been a massively attacker-driven here. This was a great moment from Yas. Obviously, a couple of games on the bench for the team and coming back almost.
Confirmed. Like just getting that last shot out. I mean, it was quite quick after another, but that would have been a difference maker. Of course, it doesn't realize it at that point.
It would have to be a pause. I think it's a difference of like 0.200 of a second.
0.3, 0.2 indeed.
Can you pause? Say 0.391, 1.22.
0.17.
That's the difference. Okay, cool. Thank you. One more round.
One more round to decide it all. Who's going to be taking the extra point home between these two teams? Either FAV, who is already out of any contention, is just trying to find a victory again after the end of stage one, or is it going to be Damwon Kia, who, well, already you've taken a big hit by letting this go to OT, but at least keep things alive that way. It's a difference from 6 to 14%.
Damwon Kia. Will they get the lead in here? The Jackal has been dropped and swapped out. They've gone for a slightly different approach here. We remember how it was with the Monty, though. They got themselves tucked right in, got control over stock, dropped the hatch, and then suddenly rocked the world of FAV with a plant that just kind of happened. There was nothing that FAV did in time to stop it going down. A lot that happened immediately after it, but that's the difference sometimes, that 5 seconds. Rin. They were able to pull a 3K last time they were here. They're not going to get anything. Rotten timing. K-Razor finally wins out. A back and forth opening duel that for a long time had gone away from them. Next on the chopping block and through the soft is probably going to be Shin in just a second. But it's Afro that somehow strikes Yas from the far end. Even whilst being hot droned, they could not make the connection with Shin. The cover came through. And the cover steadily being pulled away here from against Damwon Kia.
They probably didn't want to go for a wallbang, didn't want to risk it, and instead lost their lives. Woogieman goes down. This could be the end of it. FAV could be winning another game after half a year as Katsang responds, takes out K-Razor. That's at least a little bit of pressure on the top floor, but there's still 2 more players around, and as it gets taken down, it's only up to Coda now to keep the dream alive.
Oh, this is on the line, Coated, because it's not just for the chance. It is FAV taking their first win in about 148 play days here in APAC North since the end of stage 1, and the team that they fell is Damwon Kia, a team that now has a 6% chance to make the major.
And like all we're getting from them is just a bit of a chuckle, like they just took out Damwon Kia. Yeah, that's going to be a very painful loss for DK there. They are definitely going to have to check whether or not and how they would be able to make it to a major. And I'm not sure, it's somewhere around 185 days. Last time FAV won, somewhere around that, give or take 2, 3. But that is one hell of a performance. Out without words. Let's toss it to people who might have words.
It's a devastating day for Damwon Kia. I think that's the sort of meat of it here. FAV played a game of Siege. It was aggressive and it was chaotic, but Damwon Kia just couldn't play the game that they needed to today, which is an unfortunate time for them with other teams jumping. But I'm sure our desk are going to have a lot of fun words about that game. We'll throw it to a quick break before we're back with them.